Hello. My name is Jess. Um, I really like fitness and I really am into helping other people get into fitness
Mm.
because it's not just about the physical change that you get with it, but the mental like transformation you go through and your confidence just kind of skyrockets in comparison to what it was before. So that's why I'm super into it, not just because of the aesthetics.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So let's hop actually right into that. So you have a post on your page that talks about like when you're 14 to when you're 17 and like going through all of those changes and being depressed and not confident and like trying to escape from the world. And so tell me a little bit about that and what that has looked like and if you've seen any like relapses or anything like that.
Well, when I was 14, quarantine just literally started.
Okay.
And in Argentina, we had like the longest quarantine. No kidding. The longest one goes to Argentina. 2 years of quarantine. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like in the first year, you couldn't go outside of your house.
Oh wow.
So you had, yeah, it was burst like off the walls. Everyone was disinfecting everything. Everyone went outside with gloves and with glasses. No one would touch anyone. It was so weird, such a weird experience. And we were doing, of course, like online school, and that kind of just gave you foot to isolate yourself from the
Mhm.
others. And because no one has really that much of a sleeping routine when you're young, it's super easy to like fall asleep at 4 a.m. And then you have class, but it's virtual, so you just can hop in and keep sleeping.
Right, right.
And yeah, so you do that once and then you do it twice and it keeps escalating and escalating and suddenly you're sleeping at 6 a.m., waking up at like 4 in the afternoon and you're like, "Oh, I missed my like assignments, classes. I failed my classmates because we were going to do a project together and I bailed on them.
Yeah.
I'm evading my dad now because he's frustrated that I'm doing this. So I'm going to avoid him altogether by changing my sleeping schedule." Um, and just when you start doing that and you wake up in your bed and you have nowhere to go, you have no expectations to brush your hair, brush your teeth, change. So you kind of get into this slump where you wake up, you stay in bed, you go pee if you have to pee, you eat if you have to eat, and then you go back to bed and you binge watch whatever, and you're constantly in this like slum, like bedridden almost, but you're there not because you enjoy it, it's just because you have a lack of anything else to do,
Mhm.
because school is boring, and not only is it boring, but when you were in like when I was at least in online school, I didn't feel a need to show up because there was no consequence. Like,
Mhm.
okay, a teacher sent an email. I have to see no one. Like, I can basically bail on everybody and no one will be able to reach out to me. No one's going to come knocking on my door cuz quarantine.
Yeah.
So that was kind of an excuse for me to stop going outside, stop like changing my hair kind of got, I don't know how you say this, but basically when it gets all crunched up together and you can't separate it because it's all knotted.
Mhm. Yep.
How do you say that?
You just said it.
Okay.
It get knotted, messy, frizzy. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't like at all brush it because it was so like absolutely knotted.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I would just get out of my bed to make pancakes and sugary stuff and like super processed things that we had at home if we had. And if not, I would just like be frustrated or like bored or edgy or whatever because humans have energy. They have to use it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you're constantly trapped in your freaking bed without doing anything but consuming like TV, anime, whatever it is, you're gonna want to use that energy even if it's in eating. So I started
Right.
just like to overeat because I needed to compensate for something,
Mhm.
be it like lack of stimulation, whatever it was, or hyperstimulation. Um, but one thing led to another, and then when school started again, like at the second year, half of the second year, I went back to school and I felt like super conscious of myself,
Mhm.
but not conscious in a good way. Conscious in a way that, oh shit, sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm fat. I'm like, I can't hold eye contact with people anymore because I got so de-used to it. Oh, hell, my hair is super greasy and I'm the only one who has like oily hair from Greece because I didn't like want to wash because I wasn't used to it
Yeah.
because I fell out of the routine of it. And then I started feeling like self-isolated, like anxious, constantly anxious of that whatever anyone would think of me because I thought things negatively of me. So like I realized, okay, you're a mess. And
Yeah.
now I'm scared other people are gonna notice that I'm a mess. So it was this like self-feeding thing that went on and on and on and on. And I kind of did have a relapse, quote unquote, when we moved to Spain.
Mhm.
I think it was a year and a half ago because we moved here. I knew absolutely no one. It's just me and my dad. So I kind of isolated again.
Right.
And when I started school, I kind of did a thing with the grades where I was past one up because like difference in Spain and whatever. The classes start in different months. So I just like skipped half a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And because Argentina, maybe just my school, is a bit further back than Spain in
Okay.
like the curriculum,
Mhm.
everything was super new. And like the curriculum, the things we had to do in class were super overwhelming. Plus the fact that they have a different like teaching methodology. How do you say that? Methodology?
Methodology, yeah.
Yeah, that. Basically they're very study this, memorize these many pages till it's for tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I wasn't used to that. So I was like freaking out, getting stressed out, super anxious. And I just kind of reverted into overeating to compensate that stress, just to like alleviate myself
Mhm.
in some way because I didn't know how to. And because I kind of fell off fitness again because in Argentina, I did like fitness at one point, like when I started to get out of that. But it was more cardio and like HIIT workouts.
Okay.
And then when I moved here, I started to getting into weights and like actual lifting, which was a cool escape. But in the meantime, I reverted back to when I was 14 years old and I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to be with my dad. I didn't want to like be with myself. So I isolated everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
I hope there was a good
Yeah,
like
no, that's great. And so, like, kind of bouncing off of that, I think that, like, entire story is very popular, even, like, with
mm,
people older than us, younger than us. Like, a lot of people are struggling with that, but, like, it's hard to take yourself out of a funk, especially when you feel alone. And so, what would you recommend for someone trying to get out of that funk? Like, they know they're there, but they just don't know where to start. What would you recommend for that?
wanting to get out.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get out, you're gonna do it
Mhm.
because like if you really want to, you're gonna get fed up with who you are and you're gonna be like, F this, I'm gonna change, that's it. And if you're at that stage, is like, well, first realize what are the things that are trapping you. Is it like a lack of motivation for life? Okay, then search for something that you want to build that will give you that intrinsic motivation to just like keep going.
Mhm.
Because if you have something to build and you're passionate about building it, you're gonna want to wake up and actually do something.
Mhm.
And then if it's not something you want to build, then like someone you want to be. For
Okay.
example, I have a friend who wants to be a world class champion at taekwondo,
Oh, wow.
and she's been at it for like 7 years. She's my best friend. She's a black belt. She's got her own school of taekwondo. Like she opened her like whole thing,
What?
has kids there, and even now, like maybe it's not a project that she's actually like business that she's
Yeah.
building, but she's so passionate about taekwondo. It's not because like she woke up one day and said like, "Oh my god, I love taekwondo," but because she put so many hours into it.
Yeah.
Now it's a part of her identity and who she is.
Uh-huh.
So now she's moving towards that every single day.
Yeah.
You get? So if you want to get out of rut, find something that's gonna drive you to it, or do the antithesis. So imagine what's gonna happen in like 10 years if you keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like your parents are gonna hate you? Are you gonna hate yourself? Are you gonna end up, doing that?
Yeah.
Sh-
No, no, I just this is the best, like, enactation I've, like, seen of it. Awesome.
But yeah, that's what I think you should do.
Yeah, that's really big too. I think it's also such a small step that we, like, procrastinate on for so long, is, like, just doing something. There's 2 things that I got out of that, though. You put quotations around motivation, which I think is interesting. So tell me a little bit about why you put quotations around it.
Well, I don't really know, but I did say, oh yeah, okay. So I said motivation because, like, you can be disciplined.
Mhm.
Of course, you do something when you don't want to do it. and you can be motivated to do like the cheap things,
Yeah.
like go grab a burger or like and work faster than you should or whatever it is. But and because of that, like motivation has been seen as like this bad thing, and then discipline like this hero, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you think about what discipline is, it's like a form of, you know, when a kid is doing something dumb and their parents discipline them,
Yeah.
it's a form of saying you're doing something bad or you should be doing something you're not doing.
Mhm.
And I think it's super powerful when you put it into use towards something that you actually want to do.
Yeah.
But if you're just being disciplined for being disciplined,
Okay.
you're not really getting that passion towards what you want to be, because one day if you're just disciplined for being disciplined, you're going to wake up and be like, holy hell, what did I do with my life?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, and
And
so go ahead,
yeah,
finish what you were saying.
okay. And I meant that cheap dope. I meant dopamine in quotations,
Yeah.
because although motivation is seen as this bad thing, whatever, it's not really bad if you mix it with like discipline. Because
Mhm.
yes, it's gonna flunk sometimes, but if you have this internal motivation to do stuff, like you are gonna be so much happier. You're gonna be so much like intrinsically on
Yeah.
to do things. You
Okay.
know,
I love that.
you're gonna
Okay.
be purposeful.
Yeah, so what you're basically talking about is just, like, internal, intrinsic motivation versus, like, the exterior, like, "Oh, I get a burger," motivation.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. I think that's a really good way to look at it, especially on, like, Money X. Everyone dogs motivation. I'm like, "No, no, no, no. It can be good. I just think you're looking at the wrong type of motivation. Because it's like,
Hmm.
kind of bouncing off your health and fitness background. It's like when people try to lose weight, they're like, "Oh, well, I get a cheat day." And it's like, no, that's not
No.
really how that works. So like, and I'm guilty of it too because it's kind of what's like taught to you. It's like, oh, you do it really good for 6 days and then you get a cheat day. It's like, no wonder you're not getting results. So be a person. What person do you want to be, and what do your days look like trying to build that person?
Hmm. Maybe it's like a redundant way to go about it,
Hmm.
but I'm very family orientated in the fact that I really, really, really love my nephews and my dad and my sisters. And I've always wanted to have the cool aunt on my life in my life, like, you know, the person that just can pamper you and take you to places and teach you stuff, and who's not just cool for their money or anything, but they're who they are as a person is incredibly magnetic, is incredibly fun to be around. And it's like comforting.
Hmm.
And I never really had that for me. So I want to be that for my nephews. I want to be that for my sisters. I want to be that for the kids maybe one day have. And I think to be someone like that, you have to kind of do something epic to, you know, be able
Yeah.
to bark, not just be able to bite, not just bark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
That's so
So yeah.
sweet. So family oriented and stuff like that. What is like the epic thing that you're building right now? You're doing a lot. Let me just add that. You're doing a lot. So like what is the epic thing that you really want to do?
Help tons of people
Yeah.
gain confidence. Tons, tons, tons. I'm talking like hundreds of people be able to just look at other people's eyes and have a normal conversation and get up like in front of a board in class if they have to, and be able to just like give a presentation if they have to, and not be stuttering like hell and not be nervous and self-conscious, not because they're not prepared, but just because they're insecure of who they are. And I
Yeah.
think that's such a nice thing to see when someone goes on stage and you can see how confident they are and you can see how chill they are. And yeah, I think the world would be a better place if we had like hundreds of those people.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And so as you build this and as you do that, I really dig the way that you kind of go about health and fitness. It's more chillaxed, as some say, just because like health and fitness doesn't have to be complicated. But tell me a little bit about your program and the unique way that you help not only women but men as well.
Okay. During what I believe like is the most important thing to get to fitness is like the habituation of it and understanding that you're becoming a different person.
Mm.
Because it's like what you said, like cheat days are chill and everything if you're doing this loosely. You know, if you're just trying to get lean for 2 weeks or like for summer or whatever, yeah, sure, have your cheat days if you want to.
Mhm.
But the thing is, who cares if you're lean for just summer? Like, who cares if you like lose weight but then gain it all back in a few more a month later?
Yeah.
No one does, and like you won't either. So I think the like most important thing about having a like well balanced routine is to set the habits early on, to stack like the little wins. Do the easy things first. Like you don't have to track calories from day one and go like berserk and be like completely maniac with how many grams a like plate of food has. I'm not saying that, but like you don't have to go to the gym in the first week and bang out 5 sessions of like 87 kilogram like hip thrust. I'm not saying that. Like you can really just start with walking 8,000 steps every day for a week, and you're already better than most people. Like
Mhm.
you don't really have to go full on like accelerator when you're just starting to like, okay, car analogy, if you're learning to drive, you don't go and just press the accelerator to 200 per hour and say, okay, I'm going to go in reverse and try to park while at it. You don't do that. You start
Yeah.
super slow. You like with someone guiding you and telling you, you're going to hit the truck, you're going to hit the truck, you're going to hit the truck. So you like steer the wheel, you know? And you go slow and you have people helping you. And you don't do dumb shit right off the bat because then you crash and you don't want to get in a car anymore. And it's completely understandable. So if we want to avoid the crash, then start slow and start like habituating it and getting the identity of someone who can drive or someone who's leaner, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's huge. And so regarding that identity and everything, you also create on X and everything is top of funnel. And when we first started talking, you mentioned that it was an
Mm.
outlet. And so tell me a little bit about not only when you started on X, but what it's turned into you now.
Mm. Okay, sometimes I have these 4 a.m. thoughts that I just can't sleep, can't sleep, can't sleep. Oh, hell, it's 4 a.m. And like, but I'm not going to sleep early, you know? It's like 11 when I like touch my bed and then it's 4 a.m. and I have no clue what happened. Um, and sometimes I just want to write it down. And the last time that happened, I think it's the one post with the most views in my whole account. It's the one that I pinned. Like I genuinely couldn't sleep at 3 a.m. in the morning, wrote something down, added a picture, and it did pretty well. Like for me.
Pretty
Like
well. I think it got like 24,000 views.
yeah. And yeah, something I've seen like that. And I don't know, I think that's what I meant when I said an outlet. That sometimes I want to process thoughts and I don't know how to process them in a way that I'm satisfied with them. And X really helped me like write it all down, synthesize it all down in like a compact way that I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Oh, okay, now I can think it through. Now it makes sense to me. And when I publish it, it's more so, let's see if this can help someone else too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's so cool too. Like it's the concept of like treat X like a journal, but like you're using it as like a yeah, no, that's really awesome. And so bouncing off of that a little bit, being a woman on X, what would you recommend for what? Why are you giggling? What's so funny? What?
It's just I didn't think that being a girl on X would be so different than being a guy on X.
No, and I
Like
know
the
that, but like
DMs.
it is different. Oh my god. And like, okay, I imagine it's way different for you than it is for me, just because I know how I look. Like I get how I look. It does not hurt my feelings when people talk to me. But like I literally had this dude comment on my podcast with Vigo and he was like, I love seeing two young men hash it out. And I was like, okay. And like I brought it to the DMs because I was like, hey, like my feelings are not hurt. I have short hair and everything like that. Now my camera's gonna break. Okay. I have short hair and everything like that, but like all of these women I talk to on X are like kind of scared of things, and I'm like, why? Like, what are your opinions on, or like just thoughts on all of that?
Wait. Give me more so I can like feed off of it. What do
Oh,
you
what
mean by that?
like just about like being a woman on X, because like I think everyone, no matter you're like man or woman, I think you should be writing on X, and like there's not a lot of women on X for some reason, but like I mean, okay, I can see why the men are a little they're interesting to say the least, but like I don't know, just do like if a woman wants to start on X, what would you tell her? It's gonna be a lot of editing in this one.
um. Okay. So the thing is, I get like marriage proposal in DMs.
What?
Cool DMs too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a level. And the thing is, I don't think there's that little women on X. There are a lot of women. I like send a lot of cold DMs. There are a bunch of them. There are a lot of them. But the thing is, one, they don't post. They're super inactive. Two, almost none are on Money X.
Yeah.
And then or Fitness X at all. Like I found like I think 4 girls in fitness, if that barely. And I tried looking for them, you know? Um, but I think it's either because if you're not into building something or into drama, you're not gonna like have X first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like you're not. You're gonna have Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. That's it. I know, but but the thing is, if you're gonna start on X, like I don't think if oh it depends on what kind of material you're gonna post. But if you're gonna post pictures of yourself, you can't be swayed by either compliments or like how you say the opposite of that
Sorry, the opposite of
insults.
insults. Yeah, I was like, wait, what's sorry, what's the question? This is the most
um,
hectic podcast I have ever recorded in my life.
but it's fun.
Oh man, no, it's definitely fun. I love podcasting, but so many people are so serious about it. And I'm like, make a joke, smile.
Well, you asked for it. Now you're gonna have to over edit because I'm doing too many like dumb shit.
No. I honestly, low key, probably won't even edit this. This will probably be in the podcast. I never edit them. That's so bad.
It's fine. Okay, yeah. If you want to start on X and you want to post on X pictures of yourself, if you're either gonna post li- like whatever it is, you're gonna get attacked and you're gonna get complimented.
Mhm.
Like I don't care what you're doing, people are gonna want to suck like your feet to get a follow back, and wait, people are gonna hate on you just because they're bored and because they're chronically
Mhm.
online.
Yeah.
Like, and you really need to understand that you're not all that and you're not all that.
Yeah.
Like my perception of anyone is determined by solely what I think
Mhm.
in my experiences. Like I'm not gonna think the same thing about you, Brynn, than anyone else watching this will. Because like me and that person have different inputs in our life and our brain. So we
Yeah.
process things like in different order or whatever. So like when someone hates on you, it's not objectively true. It's subjectively true to them. And to the next person, what they say can be absolutely false and opposite truth. But what they see is not true either. It's just their opinion,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
It's like having a 9 or a 6 in between of both of us looking like this. I see a 6 and you see a 9. Like none of us are wrong. We're just looking at it from different perspectives.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
like and when you are in the middle of that, like push and pull between I hate you and I love you can like start rethinking yourself. Hey, am I this or am I that? And you can start really getting like it into your head. Like, how do you say that? Like,
Overthinking.
believing something is not true? Yeah, overthinking. Okay, thank you. So you start to overthink things and question yourself. So if you really want to have like a healthy mental relationship with you after posting on X, you should probably start with having a very strong opinion of yourself.
Mhm.
Because if I know I'm something and I believe it to death, then I don't care what anybody else thinks because I care what I think. Like, if you understand that the only approval you need is yours, everybody else is noise. And that, especially when you're posting pictures, people are going to attack you for anything. Like, like anything. The other day, I got called ugly because, and I was like, I have a pimple. Like, so? Like, and then the other day, I called like, what was it? What did they say? Oh yeah, I want to have your kids and I want to marry you. So those are like different extremes. What would happen to my mental health if I listened to either one?
Yeah.
Like, I'd be insane. I'd be a bratty like bee, or like a depressed person who may give up
Yeah.
just because she didn't like the insult someone said. So yeah, like believe something about yourself and stick to it, even though people say nay or yay. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I hate to. I'm gonna just pause this really quick. I'm getting a knock on my door. Give me 1 second.
Go.
There is definitely gonna be editing in this one.
You can just cut that out, and like I wouldn't be mad if you leave everything else in.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
no, I probably will just cut that out, but I think I'm gonna take the "there will be editing" and, like, throw it in the beginning just because I think it'll be fucking funny. I have a very there's a okay, the reason I don't edit any of my podcasts this is gonna go on the podcast. The reason I don't edit any of them is because my editing style is so hectic. Like, I used to create TikToks, and, like, I'm that nerd who puts, like, the weird Looney Tune sounds in there and, like, has the stupid jump cuts just because I think it's funny. But, like, a lot of people, it takes a long time to do all that stuff, 1, and 2,
yeah.
like, it's not for everybody.
Mm. Well, yeah, but raw and uncut podcasts aren't for everybody out either. Like
Oh,
most people
no.
have the attention of
People
like a fish. So
yeah, people hate him. I remember which podcast was it? I think it was my podcast with Ben Chan. The feedback that I got on that one was so terrible.
why?
Because everyone was just like, "Well, you need to have attention loops in the beginning of it. You need to have this, you need to have that." And I'm like, "Just sit down, like tie yourself to your chair if you have to, and just watch the podcast." Like, I don't know, because like I like unedited podcasts just because I think they're better personally. So I just make them for
Yeah,
myself because
yeah,
then I
yeah,
can
yeah.
sit down. This is gonna sound so narcissistic. I can sit down and listen to my own podcast because I love the people I talk to and I love what I learn from everybody and I like the questions that I ask because like every question that I ask I somehow can apply to myself whether it's something I should do or not do. And so like I don't know, the attention span of a fish is definitely a big problem nowadays.
Well, I like raw like podcasts
Mhm.
because the ones that are not raw, I can't just like turn off the screen and go on a walk with because there's sounds and there's things and I don't get what's happening. But like I really like modern wisdom.
Mm, I
I
love
really
him.
because the guests are always so interesting and like it's a real conversation
Yeah.
and you can tell to people talking about interesting things.
Yeah.
So
No, 100%. And that's kind of like the vibe I wanted to go to. I like just talking is all that
yeah.
I think is just really important, especially because I think it lacks nowadays in like modern
Mm.
media and everything. Because everyone is like, I like phone calls. I'm a phone caller. I will not text you even if it's to ask you what color shoes you want. I will call you because I want to hear your voice and I want to because I just want to hear like, are you fully convinced that you want green shoes? Do you really want green shoes? And I'm gonna know because we're on the phone and we're gonna figure this out. And I'll probably end up talking about some random thing like the lady in aisle 5 cursed at me or something random because I just like phone calls. And like it irks so many people that I surround myself with because they're like, just text me. And I'm like, no, I can't.
I'm really bad with my phone, so people really hate me because they call me and I don't answer, and they text me and I take like 2 business
Yep.
days.
Yeah, I'm the same thing
So
with text. If you text me, I probably won't answer. If you call me, I will 100% answer.
noted.
Yeah, it's like super bad. So like if I end up working with you or vice versa, don't text me. Don't. I
Roger.
I will not answer. Maybe like next week, but
There's a saying in Spanish that's those who warn do not betray. That those who warn before can't betray because they warned you.
interesting.
So basically, if you warn me, then I can't be upset of you for you
Yeah. I'm just
because
going
you
to
warned
start
me.
telling everyone I won't answer. You heard it here, folks. I will not answer. Just kidding. Don't get your butt hurt when I don't answer, please. Oh man. So kind of where we were at when I the cut happened, everybody. Is talking about like basically social awareness just in general as like not even like men or women but like on social media in general if you do not like who you are you're probably not going to do very well and I think that's a big thing with like so many social media influencers nowadays is like no wonder you get depressed you're having 14-year-olds tell you they love you but they're also telling you that they want to marry you one day and so it's like just having that security in general what does that look like for you and just like as your life has transitioned and you finally like are believing in yourself and everything like that, what would you recommend for other people who just don't have that sense of security in themselves?
My dad is a let's say coach for businesses. He goes into big companies and he teaches them to work together better, right? So since I was a freaking child, one of the like two things he repeated like a mantra to me is no one can say anything that means something about you. Like no one talks about you for you. They talk about themselves.
Mhm.
It's more or less what I'm saying before,
Yeah.
but whatever someone says to you, do not take it personally. And it's a lot harder to do it than to actually say it. And it's taking me like a lot of time because I've been told this since I was like 7 years old. So I kind of integrated that. But when you see a comment about you, you can go, this is not about me, this is about the other person.
Mhm.
You can feel your feelings. You can be frustrated, you can be happy, you can be giggly, you can be like hurt, but just repeat those words, like just to brainwash yourself with time to believe it. Because you can be like whatever you expose yourself to multiple times, you'll start believing. So that's how a lot of cults become cults because they're constantly reinforced and exposed to the same information, which, because is their reality, turns into their beliefs. So if you constantly say to yourself, this does not talk about me, but of the other person and their shitty day and their shitty life and their shitty personality, then you'll start like making that one of your like back thoughts, and that's going to help you process things differently. At least that's what happened with me. Like a lot of things can happen to you, and even if it's a compliment, don't believe it. Like, do you believe it before someone said it to you? Do you think it's real? When you see someone who's very, very, very good at one thing that they're complimenting you, and you see one person that is very, 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 very bad at it, you can objectively say, okay, I'm over here in the scale of 1 to 10. I'm over here in the scale. It doesn't matter if someone comes and says, oh, you're a 10 at singing, you know? Because you can go, okay, who's the 10 I know? Adele. Am I an Adele? No. Okay, but I've heard people who are tone deaf sing. Am I tone deaf? No. Okay, so maybe I'm a 5. So now the compliment isn't real, and now the hate and the insult isn't real either because you can objectively
Yeah.
think out of it. So even if you don't believe it, you can reason through it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. And I also think it's really big, especially for like upcoming creators who are like, oh well, it just X just doesn't work for me. And I'm like, why? If it worked for them, it should, theoretically, if you do what they did, work for you. Right? And so as we wrap up this very hectic, lovely episode, let's get let's get a little more actionable. And maybe like I don't know, walk us through like what your day to day looks like. I know you go on a lot of walks and stuff, and do a lot of outdoors and really fun things. And so like, what is your just ideal day that you just like once you go to bed, you just know you had a great day?
Okay. It's been like a week since I started waking up at 5 a.m. because I was stressed that I didn't have enough hours in the day. So I was like, let's try to wake up at 5 a.m.
Hmm.
So I started to do that. And I started reading in the mornings, like nonfiction books. And they really helped me, I just read a chapter or maybe two, like it depends. But it kind of helps me throughout the day with my new thoughts because when you have new inputs, you can get new outputs. So it really helps me for my creativity, for my thoughts throughout the day, and then they get converted into tweets or whatever. But I read, then I probably write, and then I probably do either cold DMs or warm DMs. Then I have school, yay me. Um, and I have to study because I have exams in October and they're very important. So study time for like 6 to 7 hours. Then I probably hit the gym, probably because rest days, and if not, 2 to 3 hour walks because I can just download a podcast and just go on my freaking walk. Then I like to come back, take a bath, do whatever I didn't finish doing, like in the morning, and just try to relax into it. Talk with my dad because he's smart, so it's always fun. And yeah, try to go to sleep on time, which I'm still working on. So I'm sleep deprived.
Okay. What time are you aiming for? You aiming for like a sleep from 9 to 5?
I'm sleep. That's the aim, but it's more like 11 to 5. So yeah, it's okay.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So you mentioned podcasting and like or podcasts that you like to watch. What are like 2 to 3 podcasts or even mentors slash books that you enjoy?
Right now, well, I finished 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel.
Hmm.
He's basically the co-founder of X, like not XX, but SpaceX, LinkedIn. He was basically the manager of all the people who went to be the PayPal gang. So like Elon Musk, the co-founders of YouTube, the other co-founder of LinkedIn, like the guy has been through like a lot of
Yeah.
business endeavors, and it's a super short book, and I think I finished it yesterday. Super cool book. Everyone should read it. Um, right now I'm reading Your Next Five Books by Patrick Davidson, I think it is, which is like I've been liking it a lot. And then for podcasts and like people to listen to, I like Chris,
Mhm.
James Smith, who's a very prominent PT and like online PT clearly, and then Hormozy.
Okay. We love Hormozy. I was literally
Yeah.
watching like a YouTube video beforehand of Hormozy. I love that man. I love him so much. Awesome. And so, okay, as we wrap this up, is there like one final thing that you'd like to say for either your audience or someone who could potentially be watching this?
Sometimes you kind of spiral into not thoughts but emotions because you see no results, but you've been working hard.
Mhm.
And because you've seen no results, you feel frustrated, and frustration pins up into feeling hatred for yourself and like you're useless and that you're stupid or whatever. And you're not stupid and you're not useless. Things, it's just good things take time. That's why we don't give up on them. And sometimes that's not very comforting to hear, like, just don't give up. But when I tried to lose weight, it wasn't that I woke up one day and I knew how to do it and I just did it. I really struggled for a lot of months to even see my weight move at all. And I remember this one chat I had with my dad where he was like, maybe you're just meant to look more fat. And I was so angry at that. Like, no, I'm not supposed to be fat. Why should I be fat? And like, it hurt me so much to think that maybe I was just supposed to be like that. And I genuinely almost gave up, but I was so angry at my dad that I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong just because.
Mhm.
But I would have given up. And it's not because I couldn't lose weight, not because I was meant to be fat, not because I was useless. It's just I was lacking something that was holding me back. And once I fixed it, I lost all the weight.
Yeah.
And I think that's applicable to pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
life is simple. that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. No, I really like that. Thank you so much for coming on here today. This was
Thank you.
very
It was so
enjoyable to say the least.
well, yeah, I really had a fun time. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure.